Jake Carter looked through the glass window of his research lab on the remote planet Alaris. The landscape outside was stunning, filled with vibrant plants and unusual colors under a calm sky. It was a place he had grown fond of since his arrival. The planet was peaceful, far away from the crowded cities and noise of Earth. His job was simple: observe, study, and understand the native creatures of Alaris. But Jake was most fascinated by the Allurians, the intelligent species native to this planet. The Allurians were graceful beings, taller than humans, with soft glowing patterns on their skin that changed colors with their emotions. They spoke gently and moved smoothly, their presence calming and mysterious. Jake especially admired Leah, an Allurian diplomat who often visited the human research station to improve relations between the two species. She was wise, thoughtful, and always patient, helping humans and Allurians understand each other better. Jake often watched her from afar, amazed by her kindness and beauty. One evening, as the sun was setting, Jake finished writing his notes about the day's observations. He stretched his arms and sighed softly. Thinking he was alone, he whispered quietly to himself, "She's so incredible. I wish I could tell her." Suddenly, a gentle voice behind him responded softly, "It would be an honor to be with you." Jake froze, his heart pounding. He slowly turned around to see Leah standing near the entrance, her glowing patterns softly pulsing in shades of blue and green, a sign of calmness and sincerity. He felt embarrassed and nervous, unsure if he had heard her correctly. "Leah," Jake stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know you were there." Leah stepped closer, her movements smooth and graceful. She tilted her head slightly, watching him carefully. "I did not mean to startle you," she said gently, her voice comforting. "But I meant what I said." Jake swallowed, feeling a rush of emotions. He had imagined this moment many times, but never expected it to happen. Humans and Allurians rarely form close personal relationships, especially because their cultures and biology were so different. He hesitated, unsure how to respond. "I didn't think—" Jake paused, gathering his thoughts. "I didn't know you felt this way." Leah smiled softly, her glowing colors shifting gently to warmer hues. "I have observed you closely, Jake. You are curious, kind, and respectful. You see us not as strange beings, but as equals. It has drawn me closer to you over time." Jake felt warmth spread through his chest at her words. He carefully stepped toward her, cautious not to break the delicate moment. "But Leah, our people, would they understand?" He asked quietly. She nodded slowly, thoughtful. "It may not be easy. There will be questions and possibly resistance. But isn't understanding worth the challenge?" Jake looked into Leah's gentle eyes, finding courage in her calm strength. "Yes," he finally said, his voice steady. "It is worth it." They stood quietly, sharing the silent comfort of mutual understanding. Jake felt a connection deeper than he ever thought possible. He knew the path ahead would be complicated, but standing there with Leah made everything seem manageable. "We should talk more about this," Jake suggested gently, "to make sure we both fully understand what it means for us." Leah nodded in agreement. "That would be wise. Perhaps we can speak openly in the garden tomorrow, away from others." "Yes," Jake agreed, relieved by her careful consideration. "That sounds perfect." Leah moved slowly towards the door, turning once more to face him. "Until tomorrow, Jake," she whispered softly. "Good night, Leah," Jake responded warmly. After she left, Jake stood quietly for a few moments, absorbing everything that had happened. The room felt different now, filled with a sense of hope and possibility. He walked back to his desk, smiling softly to himself as he sat down. The night outside deepened. The stars brightened the clear sky. Jake opened his notebook again, writing carefully about his feelings, about the evening, and especially about Leah. Tomorrow would be important. A new chapter for both of them, and possibly for their two species. He looked out once more at the peaceful landscape, feeling grateful for the strange twist of fate that had brought him to Alaris and to Leah. There was uncertainty ahead, Yes, but also a deep, joyful excitement he had never felt before. Jake knew his life had just changed in the best possible way. The next morning, Jake woke early, his mind filled with thoughts of Laia and their planned meeting in the garden. He dressed quickly and left his room, stepping out into the crisp air. The sunlight was warm and comforting, making the garden look even more beautiful than usual. Flowers of all colors bloomed gently, their fragrance sweet and calming. He saw Laia standing near a large tree, her tall and graceful figure glowing softly. Her patterns were shifting in peaceful colors, calming shades of blue and purple. She turned when she heard him approaching, and a gentle smile formed on her face. "Good morning, Jake," Laia greeted softly. "Good morning, Laia," Jake replied warmly, his heart beating faster. They began to walk together slowly, side by side, through the quiet pathways. "Did you sleep well?" Laia asked, glancing at him. "Honestly, I was too excited to sleep much," Jake confessed with a shy smile. Laia's patterns brightened slightly, reflecting her amusement. "I understand," she said softly. "I also felt restless, thinking about today." They walked a bit more in comfortable silence, each enjoying the simple pleasure of the other's company. Eventually, Laia spoke again, her voice thoughtful. "Jake, our bond is unusual. Our people might not understand or accept us easily." Jake nodded, feeling the seriousness of her words. "I know. Humans can be slow to accept things they don't understand. But if we show them our sincerity, maybe they will change." Laia paused, looking deeply into Jake's eyes. "My people value emotional honesty above all else. They may resist at first, but I believe they can learn acceptance." Encouraged by Laia's confidence, Jake felt stronger. "Then we must be patient," he said firmly. "We need to help our communities understand." "I agree," Laia responded, her voice filled with determination. They sat down together near a fountain, the sound of flowing water adding to the calm of the calm. Garden-dot as they talked, they shared stories of their lives and dreams. Jake explained his fascination with exploring new worlds, his desire to learn about the universe. Laia spoke of her people's values, their dedication to peace and harmony. With each word, their understanding of each other grew deeper. Suddenly, footsteps approached, breaking their quiet moment. Clara Brooks, Jake's colleague, appeared with concern on her face. She looked surprised seeing Jake and Leah sitting close together. "Jake, Laia," Clara greeted cautiously, her eyes filled with curiosity. "What brings you both here this early?" Jake took a deep breath, deciding honesty was the best path. "Clara, we were discussing something important. Laia and I have realized we have feelings for each other." Clara looked startled, glancing quickly between them. "This is unexpected," she said slowly, choosing her words carefully. "Jake, you know how complicated this could become." "Yes, we do," Laia replied calmly, "but our feelings are sincere. We hope others will understand in time." Clara nodded thoughtfully. "I hope so too, but please be careful. Both your people might react strongly." Jake smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Clara. We will be careful." Clara gave them a supportive nod before leaving, clearly thoughtful about their conversation. Jake turned to Leah, feeling hopeful but also worried. "We expected this," he said softly, "but it's still difficult." Laia reached out gently, placing her hand lightly on Jake's. Her touch was comforting, warm. "Challenges help us grow stronger," she reminded him gently. "Together, we can face anything." Her words filled Jake with courage. He squeezed her hand softly, agreeing silently. The morning sun rose higher, bathing them both in warm light. It seemed to promise brighter days ahead. For the rest of the morning, Jake and Leah continued talking, discussing ways they might help their communities understand and accept their relationship. They agreed to openly show their friendship and bond, hoping that time and patience would win others over. When the afternoon came, Jake returned to his research station, feeling more hopeful than he had in days. His mind was clear, determined. He spent the afternoon working hard, Finishing tasks he had postponed later that evening, Laia visited again, carrying a small flower. She presented it gently to Jake, its delicate petals glowing faintly. "This flower symbolizes courage in my culture," she explained softly. "It is yours now." Jake accepted the flower carefully, touched by her thoughtful gesture. "Thank you, Laia. It means so much to me." They stood quietly for a moment, their shared understanding strong and comforting. Despite the uncertainty ahead, Jake felt more certain than ever about his feelings for Laia. When Laia finally left for the night, Jake placed the flower carefully on his desk. It glowed softly in the dark room, a constant reminder of their bond and their courage. He lay down, closing his eyes peacefully. For the first time in a long while, he felt completely hopeful. He knew their path would not be easy, but with Laia by his side, he believed anything was possible. Jake woke up the next day feeling calm and determined. He dressed quickly and prepared himself for another busy day at the research station. His thoughts, however, remained with Laia and their future together. He knew they would face resistance, but he was ready to face whatever came their way. He entered the lab to find Clara already working. She looked up as he came in, giving him a friendly smile. "Good morning, Jake," she greeted warmly. "Good morning," Jake replied, returning her smile. "I've been thinking," Clara began cautiously. "Your relationship with Laia could change things significantly between our species. But remember, people might be scared or confused at first." Jake nodded thoughtfully. "I know. Laia and I talked about it. We believe our bond can help build understanding." Clara paused, then said softly, "I admire your courage. If you need any help, please let me know." Jake felt relieved and grateful. "Thank you, Clara. That means a lot." Their conversation ended as more researchers entered the lab, starting their day's work. Jake busied himself with his tasks, but his mind continued returning to Laia. In the afternoon, a meeting was called. Human and Allurian representatives gathered together to discuss joint research projects and cooperation. Jake felt nervous but also hopeful. Laia was present as well, her patterns glowing softly with calm reassurance. During the meeting, an older human researcher named Dr. Richard Harris spoke up. "We have noticed increased interactions between humans and Allurians, especially on a personal level. We must remember that while cooperation is encouraged, boundaries should be respected." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Laia calmly responded, her voice clear and gentle. "Respect is indeed important. But emotional bonds also deserve understanding and respect." Dr. Harris looked surprised, but nodded thoughtfully. Others murmured softly among themselves, some clearly uncomfortable. Jake stood up slowly, knowing it was his moment to speak. "I understand your concerns," Jake began carefully. "But Laia and I have built our friendship on trust, respect, and understanding. We believe our connection can help bridge the gap between our species." The room went silent, all eyes fixed on him. Laia stepped forward, standing beside Jake. "Jake speaks the truth," she added softly. "Our bond is sincere and strong. We hope it will lead to greater harmony between our peoples." The silence lingered for several moments. Finally, an Allurian elder named Marin spoke gently. "These connections are unusual, but perhaps necessary. Understanding grows from courage and openness." His words seemed to ease the tension slightly. Others nodded slowly, reflecting on Marin's wisdom. The meeting continued, but Jake noticed more thoughtful and supportive expressions. Afterward, Jake and Laia left the meeting room together. Outside, under the clear sky, Laia looked at Jake, her patterns softly glowing with reassurance. "I think today was important," she said gently. Jake agreed, feeling relief. "Yes, they listened at least. That's the first step." As days passed, Jake noticed gradual changes around the station. Colleagues became friendlier, asking genuine questions about his experiences and about Laia's culture. Clara helped greatly, encouraging others to talk openly and respectfully about their concerns. One afternoon, Jake invited several colleagues to join him and Laia for a cultural exchange. They gathered outside in the garden, enjoying the peaceful surroundings. Laia patiently answered their questions. Her calm presence, encouraging openness and honesty. Dr. Harris attended, quietly observing. At the end, he approached Jake and Leah, looking thoughtful. "I still have reservations," he admitted. "But I see now the sincerity and respect between you both. It has given me much to think about." Jake nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Dr. Harris. That's all we hoped for." Evening came, and Jake walked Laia to the edge of the research station. They stood quietly together, looking up at the stars shining brightly in the night sky. Laia gently touched Jake's hand, sending warmth through him. "Things are changing, Jake," Laia said softly, her voice filled with hope. Jake squeezed her hand. Gently. "Yes, they are. Slowly but surely." Laia's glowing pattern shimmered softly with happiness. "Your courage has inspired me," she admitted quietly. "And yours has inspired me," Jake responded warmly. They stood quietly, sharing the comfort and strength of their bond. Jake knew the path ahead was still uncertain, but he felt stronger than ever, knowing Laia stood beside him. As Laia prepared to return home for the night, Jake looked into her eyes, feeling deeply grateful for her presence in his life. "Thank you for everything, Laia," he said sincerely. Laia smiled softly, her gentle glow reflecting her emotions. "And thank you, Jake. Together, we will face whatever comes." She walked slowly into the darkness, her glowing figure becoming faint. Jake stayed a moment longer, reflecting on how much had changed in such a short time. He returned to his room, feeling peaceful and hopeful. The challenges ahead no longer frightened him. Instead, they gave him purpose and determination. He knew the journey would not be easy, but with Laia by his side, he believed they could overcome anything. Jake lay down, closing his eyes with a peaceful sigh. The future felt brighter, full of possibilities and shared dreams. His heart felt calm and content, knowing he was not alone in his journey. Over the next few weeks, Jake and Leah became even closer. Their bond grew stronger each day, inspiring more understanding between humans and Allurians at the research station. But not everyone was supportive. Rumors began to spread, causing some tension. One morning, Jake entered the lab to find Clara looking worried. "Jake, I need to talk to you," she said softly, leading him aside. "What's wrong?" Jake asked, concerned by her serious tone. "There are people who disagree with your relationship," Clara said quietly. "Some from our side and some from Laia's. They're making things difficult." Jake sighed deeply. "We knew this could happen," he said calmly. "What exactly are they saying?" "They believe your relationship will harm our cooperation," Clara explained gently. "They want you reassigned back to Earth." Jake felt a sharp pang in his chest. Leaving Laia would be unbearable. "Who is leading this?" he asked quietly. "Dr. Harris is among them," Clara said hesitantly. "He still believes your bond is risky, and some Allurian elders share his view." Jake nodded slowly, absorbing her words. "Thank you for telling me," he said softly. "I'll speak with Laia." That evening, Jake and Leah met privately in the garden again. The atmosphere felt heavy, unlike their usual peaceful moments. Laia listened calmly as Jake explained the situation, her glowing pattern shifting slowly to thoughtful shades. "We knew this challenge might arise," Laia said softly. "Fear often appears before acceptance." "I don't want to lose you," Jake admitted quietly, his voice filled with emotion. Laia gently took his hand, looking deeply into his eyes. "And you will not. We will face this together, just as we planned." Jake felt reassured by her confidence. "You're right. We just need to show them our sincerity again." They agreed to speak openly with their communities, arranging a meeting to openly address everyone's concerns. 2 days later, humans and Allurians gathered in a large hall, their faces serious and uncertain. Jake stood calmly before them, Laia at his side. He took a deep breath and spoke clearly. "We understand your concerns, but Laia and I have shown respect and sincerity from the beginning. Our relationship has already encouraged deeper understanding. Dr. Harris stood, his voice firm but respectful. We worry about the consequences. Mixing personal emotions might complicate our professional and cultural exchanges. Laya responded gently. Our bond has already built bridges. We do not wish to disrupt harmony. We want to strengthen it. An Allurian elder, called Variz, rose slowly, his patterns calm yet firm. Yet traditions and caution have kept our peoples safe for generations. Jake faced Variz respectfully. We respect your traditions deeply, he assured gently. But sometimes, traditions must adapt to bring greater unity. The room became quiet, many deep in thought. Slowly, some began nodding in cautious agreement. Clara stood up, voicing her support. I've seen Jake and Laya inspire cooperation firsthand. Perhaps their relationship could lead to something positive. Her words encouraged others to speak openly. More humans and Allurians shared stories of their growing respect and friendships. Slowly, the atmosphere warmed, becoming more supportive. After the meeting, Variz approached Jake and Laya. His voice was soft but steady. You both show great courage. I remain cautious, but I see your sincerity. Perhaps our traditions can indeed evolve. Jake and Laya thanked Variz respectfully, feeling a sense of relief. Even Dr. Harris seemed more thoughtful, giving Jake a brief. Acknowledging nod. In the following days, tension slowly began to ease. Jake and Leah continued to openly show their bond, gaining more supporters who appreciated their genuine intentions. Still, some resistance remained, reminding Jake their journey was far from over. One evening, Jake found Laya standing quietly by the lake near the station. The water reflected the stars above, creating a peaceful glow. Laya turned as Jake approached, smiling softly. Are you all right? Jake asked gently, noticing her thoughtful expression. Yes, Laya replied quietly. Just reflecting on how far we've come and how far we still have to go. Jake stood close beside her, taking comfort from her calm presence. Together we can overcome anything. Laya's gentle patterns glowed warmly as she agreed softly, yes, together. They stayed there quietly, enjoying the peace and comfort of their bond. The future remained uncertain, but their shared courage gave them hope. As they finally returned to the station, Jake felt determined and strong. Challenges still lay ahead, but he knew with Laya beside him, anything was possible. Their path was clear. They would continue to show their sincerity and courage, inspiring understanding between their two worlds. The following days brought Jake and Leah closer, despite ongoing challenges. Both humans and Allurians started adjusting to the idea of their bond, and acceptance slowly grew. Still, occasional whispers of doubt continued, keeping Jake aware that their journey wasn't yet smooth. One evening, Jake and Laya decided to take some time away from the station. They planned a quiet trip into the uncharted regions of Alaris, hoping to enjoy peace and solitude together. Jake carefully prepared supplies and ensured their travel would be safe. Early in the morning, they set off, walking slowly and quietly. The path was beautiful, filled with colorful plants and gentle sounds of wildlife. Jake felt happy and relaxed, enjoying the calmness of Laya's presence. After a few hours, they reached a secluded area beside a clear, peaceful river. They sat down on the soft ground, watching the flowing water reflect the morning sun. It's beautiful here, Jake said. Softly, looking around in wonder, Laya smiled gently, her glowing patterns soft and peaceful. It reminds me why Alaris is so special. They talked quietly, sharing stories and dreams. Laya explained more deeply about her people's history, traditions, and values, making Jake feel even closer to her. Jake shared his own experiences, telling her about his childhood on Earth and his dreams of exploring distant worlds. Your world sounds fascinating, Laya said gently, her voice filled with genuine interest. It is, Jake agreed softly, but it can also be very complicated. Being here with you feels simpler, clearer. Laya nodded thoughtfully, understanding his meaning. They enjoyed their peaceful surroundings, feeling free from worries and challenges. However, as evening approached, their quiet moment was suddenly disrupted by an urgent message from Clara. Jake quickly activated his communicator, feeling a wave of concern. "Jake, you and Laia must return immediately." Clara's voice sounded worried. "There's been a serious disagreement at the station. Some Allurians and humans are strongly against your relationship. They are causing trouble." Jake sighed deeply, his peaceful feeling quickly replaced with worry. Laia gently placed a calming hand on his arm, her patterns glowing steadily. "We knew this would happen," she said softly. "Now we must face it." They packed their belongings and quickly started their return journey. Along the way, Jake couldn't help but feel worried, his mind filled with questions and fears. Laia remained calm and supportive, gently reassuring him as they walked. When they arrived back at the station, tensions were high. Many people stood together, arguing loudly. Jake saw Dr. Harris trying to calm the crowd, though even he appeared frustrated. Varese was present as well, speaking softly but firmly to his own people. Jake stepped forward, his voice clear and calm. "Everyone, please listen," he said firmly, drawing attention. The arguing slowed, and faces turned toward him. "I understand your fears," Jake continued gently, "but fear cannot guide us if we truly want harmony between our worlds. Laia and I share respect and trust. We hope to encourage understanding, not division." Laia stepped beside Jake, her voice soft but strong. "Our peoples have much to learn from each other. We should embrace this chance for greater unity." Slowly, silence spread through the crowd. Clara stepped forward, supportive. "Jake and Leah have shown courage and sincerity. They've helped us understand each other better. Let's give them a chance." Dr. Harris nodded slowly, speaking thoughtfully. "I see the strength and honesty between you both. Maybe this change is necessary." Varese also stepped forward, gently addressing everyone. "We must move forward carefully, but Jake and Laia have shown us a possibility for peace. We should consider their example." The mood gradually changed, becoming more thoughtful and calm. Some still looked uncertain, but most appeared more open to acceptance. That evening, Jake and Laia met privately in the garden once more. The night was peaceful, stars glowing softly above them. "Today was difficult," Jake admitted softly, feeling tired but hopeful. "Yes," Laia agreed gently, "but we faced it together and we made progress." Jake nodded, feeling comforted by her words. "I'm glad we returned when we did. So am I," Laia said warmly. "We showed them our sincerity and strength. They will learn from our courage." They stood quietly, sharing the warmth and peace of the night. Jake felt stronger than ever, knowing their bond was solid and meaningful. He understood clearly now how their relationship was important, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. As they said goodnight, Jake felt calm and hopeful. He knew challenges would continue, but he felt ready to face them. Laia's gentle confidence reassured him deeply, reminding him of their shared strength. Jake went to bed feeling peaceful, confident in their path. He knew the journey would be complicated, but with Laia by his side, he was certain they could create a brighter future together. Days passed quietly after the tense gathering. The station gradually settled into a more peaceful routine. Humans and Allurians began interacting more openly, sharing meals, tasks, and conversations. Jake watched with quiet satisfaction, feeling hopeful that their efforts were making a difference. One afternoon, Clara approached Jake with a bright smile. "Jake, Laia, I have good news," she announced happily. "The leaders of both our groups have decided to hold a special event celebrating our cooperation and unity. They want you both to speak." Jake felt a wave of relief and excitement. Laia's glowing patterns showed gentle happiness. "That is wonderful news," she said warmly. They spent the following days preparing carefully. They wanted their words to inspire and reassure everyone, showing clearly their dedication to peace and unity. On the day of the event, Jake stood quietly by Laia's side, feeling nervous but determined. Many people gathered, humans and Allurians together, waiting patiently. Finally, it was their turn. Jake stepped forward, speaking clearly and sincerely. When I first arrived here, I knew very little about Allurians. But Laia and her people welcomed me, teaching me kindness and patience. He paused, looking warmly at Laia before continuing. Our bond grew naturally from trust and understanding. We hope our relationship shows everyone the beauty possible when we embrace each other's differences. Laia then spoke softly but confidently. Jake and I have shown that different beings can form true connections. Our worlds have unique traditions and ideas, but together we are stronger. Understanding comes from open hearts. Their words received warm applause from both humans and Allurians. Dr. Harris stepped forward, speaking sincerely. Jake and Leah have helped us see beyond our fears. They've taught us that unity requires courage and honesty. Let's move forward together. Variz also addressed the crowd gently. Traditions guide us, but sometimes new paths must be explored. Jake and Laia remind us that harmony grows from respect and openness. The event continued joyfully, filled with shared food, stories, and laughter. Jake watched with deep happiness as humans and Allurians mingled freely. Friendship forming naturally. Later that evening, Jake and Leah walked quietly through the garden, reflecting on the successful day. Today felt important, Jake said gently, his voice filled with hope. It was, Laia agreed softly. Our words touch many hearts. We have opened new doors. They stopped near the fountain, listening to the gentle water. Laia reached out, softly taking Jake's hand. Her touch was comforting, filled with warmth. Jake, your courage inspired me from the beginning, Laia said gently. You never let fear control your actions. Jake smiled warmly, squeezing her hand gently. And you inspired me with your calm strength and wisdom. You've taught me the true meaning of courage. They stood quietly, sharing the peaceful night. Stars shone brightly overhead, reflecting their hope and dreams for the future. The following days continued positively. Jake and Laia were often asked to speak with smaller groups, helping others overcome lingering doubts and fears. Slowly but surely, their bond became widely accepted. One evening, Clara visited Jake, smiling warmly. Jake, I'm proud of you both. Your efforts have changed everything here. Thank you, Clara, Jake replied gratefully. Your support was important too. We couldn't have done it without you. Clara smiled gently, clearly touched. I'm happy I could help. You and Laia showed us the path to peace. Later that night, Jake joined Laia near the station's observation platform. Together, they gazed at the breathtaking night sky, filled with bright stars and distant planets. I never imagined this when I first arrived, Jake said softly, thoughtful. Neither did I, Laia admitted gently, but I am grateful for each moment. They remained quiet, enjoying the peaceful moment together. Jake felt deeply content, knowing their bond was truly making a difference. As days turned to weeks, life on Alaris settled into a comfortable, unified rhythm. Humans and Allurians worked closely, friendship strengthening daily. Jake and Leah continued, openly supporting unity, often guiding others patiently. One day, Dr. Harris approached Jake warmly. Jake, I want to apologize. I was wrong to doubt you both so strongly. You've taught us all a valuable lesson. Jake smiled sincerely. Thank you, Dr. Harris. We appreciate your openness and support. Variz also visited Leah, speaking gently. Your courage has taught our people much. You showed us how to embrace new ideas carefully and respectfully. Laia responded warmly, grateful for his words. Thank you, Elder Variz. Your guidance helped everyone understand better. That evening, Jake and Leah spent time quietly together in their favorite garden spot. Jake felt peaceful and deeply grateful. He knew challenges would always exist, but together, they could overcome anything. Laia, Jake said softly, looking deeply into her calm, gentle eyes. I'm thankful every day for our bond. You've brought true meaning to my life. Laia's patterns glowed softly with happiness. And you've shown me true courage and love. Together, we create something beautiful. They stood quietly, hearts connected deeply. The journey had been complicated, but their strength and sincerity had brought harmony and unity to their worlds. Jake knew their path ahead was filled with possibilities, guided by the courage and love they had discovered together. Whatever the future held, they would face it side by side, confident in their shared strength and love.